What's going on? Welcome back to Jiu-Jitsu Outlet. I'm sitting down here with Lionel Turner, the man behind LEãO OPTiCS. Lionel, thank you so much for coming on the show, brother.
Much for appreciate you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we were talking right before the show. I know you're a 4-stripe brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I know that obviously you were passionate enough about Jiu-Jitsu to start a brand, that helps the Jiu-Jitsu community. And I want to hear all about that. But first, I want to get into talking about the question that we asked everyone to start off the episode, which is, how has Jiu-Jitsu training helped you and your mental health since you started training?
I would say, I grew up in doing combat sports, so I boxed through all through high school and won Golden Gloves and Junior Olympics, and this is going back to I got out of high school in '94, so right on the same time I first saw the first UFC. So I remember when I was younger and in shape and doing whatnot, what kind of person that I was, how I dealt with issues of my life, pain, laziness, things like that. And then I had a pretty significant accident that happened to my foot that I thought was going to stop me from ever starting jiu-jitsu. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit of a bitch coming to deal with the rehab of that. And that's just the honesty of it. And when I started doing jiu-jitsu, I had another injury on the same foot. I actually shattered my heel in jiu-jitsu class, and I don't want to go that whole story because it's so stupid. It's almost like, how do you do that on mats? Yeah, I actually did it. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault, but it was a professor who was standing in for somebody because my real professor was actually at a seminar, and it comes to find out one of his good friend of mine, one of his good friends, one of his students has a broken heel out of his gym. So it's ridiculous. But my attitude recovery from that was, grab my crutches, come on family, we're going to Costco, it's time to work out. My attitude going same foot, and both of them were both of them hurt, right? The other one, it was a little more significant. I ripped all the skin off the top of my foot, and you can see all my tendons. It was like the doctor was like, you got a problem. I can't.
That's nasty.
All I can do is you have a big giant open wound, and I just treated that like so soft. And I just in jiu-jitsu, we're constantly drowning. We're constantly fighting for our lives. We're constantly getting smothered. I'm 47 now. I almost broke my wrist yesterday. I had a hard day, in class. But you man up, you suck it up and you get used to that. Before jiu-jitsu, I wasn't like that at all. So right there, just my mentality with, just try to get back on the horse, I guess. That's changed significantly because we're constantly putting ourselves through pain. We're constantly hurting ourselves. We're constantly dealing with stuff. And then when you're doing jiu-jitsu and you get in that role, you get injured, you find a way to say, I'm not going to stop. How many times I went to a doctor's like, you need to rest. I'm like, that's not going to happen, doctor. So, fix my arm, or why is this happening? Things like that. Even my wife's a brown belt jiu-jitsu too. And she did that. Respect to her. She did that being the only female in her gym. And she's 45. She'll be 46 this year. I'm 47. So, wow. And so she's tough. She broke, some just fell. She broke her hand in jiu-jitsu, and she was there in a cast, tucking her arm in, still training. So I think for you, both of us, that type of mentality, I pulled a growing muscle, and it was pretty significant at the time. I was a blue belt. And I couldn't. You can't press your hips down from top position. So what you end up doing? I became a guard player for 6 months, and that mentality, I think, is purely from jiu-jitsu, and it helped me, I would say, quite a bit when it came to raising my son. And we raised a little beast. Now I was out playing college football in Minnesota, and he started off jiu-jitsu in wrestling, into football, and then took college, and took football into college, but just mentally, the way that we were able to structure things with him, the way we were able to talk with them and deal with him and set expectations, push them, which I think is very important for a lot of parents. You need to be pushing your kids a whole hell of a lot more than a lot of parents are. And then my wife is an immigrant from the Philippines. So she came here when she was young. So she always talks like, oh, I don't get sick. I don't got time for that. I'm from a third world country. That's her mentality about sisters. She also helped raise a kid with that kind of attitude. And I feel like for me at least, just help structure with a lot more mental toughness. Doesn't mean I'm not. Shoot, I went through we'll get into it, the bout of weakness that I've actually had mentally. I struggled, I deal with stuff, but yet I'm always able to look back and look forward, look back, look at my present of my time in jiu-jitsu and what I've learned and just the things that I've been through, and just help bring me along. I definitely feel that when I'm having like times of mental struggle or whatnot, I'm able to reflect. I'm like, come on, dude, this is who you are. This is what you've done. This is, and try to grasp on that attitude.
I love it, man. It's like it turns you into this thing that can just overcome any obstacle, basically. And it's like everything else gets the volume turned down a little bit. And like you said, man, it teaches you not to be a little bitch. Teaches you that you're not made of glass and that you can bounce back from a lot. And then you're able to take that to other areas of your life. It basically programs you to be more resilient is what's really going on here. Man, I'd love to hear about a little bit more about raising your son, because I feel like you said something really important there, which is that parents aren't pushing their kids enough. Like, could we talk a little bit more about that? What were some ways that you went about pushing your son?
When he was young, I remember this is actually getting off of, when he was young, my mom was watching him and he was like could barely walk. He's at the age where when the kids they hold on to something to stand up. They can't walk, but they can kind of stand up. And my mom says he was sitting there and he's looking at something and his hand is going like he's pondering, like less than a year old. And he's pondering. Right there we go. That's a smart kid. You know what? We're gonna push him in academics. The first day he was born, I'm holding him on my chest, and he was just born that night at midnight. It's probably like 10 o'clock in the morning, and he's like this, and he looks up at me. So there's muscles in the back of the neck of a kid is not supposed to do that. And I look at my wife, and he's looking up. He's able to look up like that. It was the craziest thing ever. We go, pretty strong kid. We're gonna push him. So the expectations of what we wanted from we just think we only want to have one kid, and thank God he was actually a pretty easy kid and a pretty smart kid, but we also pounded that into him. Like, we set expectations at an early age of go out there and do your absolute best whatever it is you're doing, whether it be school that he hated since kindergarten but always a 4.0 student, and when it comes to doing athletics like jiu-jitsu and whatnot, make sure you get off that mat. You left it out there. I don't really care about your wins and your losses. I don't care about that. What I want to know is you got off that mat feeling good about yourself. So that was directing him in his school career, and then like his athletics. Like, I would do the athletic side, his mom was do the school side. So there's this kind of like we were a united front, and that's one thing that I believe a lot of parents need to do is be on a united front, team mom and dad versus the kid. And that's what, our kid was not able to go to the other one and try to manipulate the other one again. So we look at him like, we know what you're trying to do. High five, just team mom and dad. You're outgunned, you're outnumbered here. And we build that with them. And one thing that we taught him when he was like 3 years old, he was so easy to be able to let people watch him. Like, oh, we'll take care of him. Yeah, he's been out of our house. Nobody. He's such an easy. They call him self-cleaning, like a self-cleaning kid, which is funny because when he got older, he turned into a Neanderthal. But when he was younger, he was like a self-cleaning kid. But our whole thing we would say to him is, when you go out there, what do you represent? And he goes, the family. He's like 3 years old, the family. And we go, and what do we not do? We don't embarrass the family. And that was always something whenever all through high school and whatnot. Like, dude, when you walk out that door, like, do not get down. I do not want that phone call. I do not want to hear that if you know better. But that was the way I was raised by my mom. My mom was like, don't you go out there and embarrass family. You get arrested, you got one phone call in your whole entire life. Better use it wisely. After that, find somebody else to call. So he set expectations that they were, there's repercussions. There's always repercussions, and like we always try to focus on being like super strict on him and super hard on him, while at the same time giving him the utmost love and treating him like he is our little baby. And I always say we walk that line. We walk that line of being the psycho crazy parents sometimes. Although I will say, going from wrestling, pretty much the psycho parents have the best kids out there. There's the crazy moms, the crazy wrestling moms, and my wife is that wrestling mom. And it was funny because the wrestling coach where he was at in his club was like, hey, all the good wrestlers are all a bunch of mama's boys. I mean, what all boils out down to it. But we just we try to teach them. I try to teach them real life things. We treat them like a kid, yes, but at the same time we would introduce them into whether it be things about society, things about politics. So you sit there and you watch the news and have an understanding of it and be able to give his own opinions. But whenever he did something that was good, we would fortify on that. Say, oh well, you messed up now. You achieved this, so now you can't go back down. Your standards have to be. And then and that's just the way we were able to do that all through school. Plus his standards are super, super, super high. Sometimes at a detriment because he'll get in his own head because his standards, he's dealing with it right now. He goes to a little private school in Minnesota, and it's a really, really highly accredited academic school. And he got there on an academic scholarship and he's out there playing football. He's like 240 pounds because he's a lineman. He's way bigger than I am. And he's awesome. Catching good grades, taking real classes. It was majoring in economics, and he's out there taking real classes. We live in Southern California. I'm in the San Diego area. He's out there in Minnesota right now. Like that's some culture shock for you. And he's all taking it with stride, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself, whether it be with his football, with his relationships with school. And sometimes he had a little bit of a mental breakdown. He had a little bit of a mental breakdown at the end of the school year because it's becoming a lot. And it's like, well, yeah, that's why we sent you out here. And set him out. We all agreed, but yeah, it's supposed to be hard. It's going to be hard, and it's him mentally dealing with it. But he's so sometimes that it becomes a little bit of an issue. But I also don't want to discourage that because that's him dealing with like his ambitions and growing up as a young man.
Yeah, man, that's powerful. I mean, it reminds me a lot of how my parents raised us, where it was very strict growing up. And they're not fundamentalist Christians anymore, but they were when I was growing up. And now they're a little less fundamental. But when I was growing up, it was like what the Bible says is law, basically. What pastor says is law, and we're gonna enact it at home.
We're Christians, but we're not super hard, strict like that. It's because I've been around, and I mean no disrespect to anybody, but I've been around and I've seen how parents that are super, super, super strict biblically wise, and then I work with the junior high youth before, and I see like the differences that are going on, the eye rolling and things like that, and it becomes more. I don't want to take this into a religious debate or whatnot, but I just having that foundation I think is a positive, definitely positive thing, but at the same time, if you feed it into a kid too much, it can become very negative.
Yeah. And I guess what to bring it back to what you were saying, it's like, I think that being raised like that, being raised in a strict household it'll produce that sort of stuff later in life where you might have a tendency to be maybe a little too hard on yourself, or maybe you might have a mental breakdown because you're stressing out about all this stuff that maybe actually isn't the end of the world. If you got a B on a final or something like that. But at the end of the day, that sort of stress is so much better than the alternative where you don't get raised in a strict environment and then you go out and you struggle the other side where you're not hard enough on yourself. Like it's way better to have a breakdown because you're stressing about something versus not even being in college in the first place because you're lazy.
Carrying involved. Like even so, like I don't believe college is for everybody. Like college is not for me. I cannot sit in a chair. Like this is hard. This is about it. I can sit in a chair and talk to you because we're actually engaged. To sit in a chair and do work, I couldn't do it in school. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it just goes to like when it comes to it's caring about what it is that you want to actually care about, and what it is that you want to do. I asked my kid. I think it was in a freshman in high school, and I go, bro, I just started LEãO OPTiCS, I think 2015. So I think he was okay, mate. It was right around 8th grade, his 7th or 8th grade, I think, maybe right before high school. I go, and he's playing football, and he's loving football, and I go, dude, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you have an artist? Is there something? Do you have a plan? Is there anything that you really want to do? And he's like, no, not really. You better get those grades, go to college, and come back with one of these. This right here is pretty much what a diploma means without any like this to go along with it. I go, but
yeah,
this right here will get you in the front door of a job or something like that before your mother and I, because we don't have that. It's just that simple. So for these years right here, I was like, I roofed right out of high school, and then my dad and stepdad are both retired Navy, and my father-in-law's retired Marines. I'm like, you can do it on a hot roof like I did out of high school. You can go do it on a Navy ship, like one of your grandfathers. You can do it in a Vietnam jungle like your other grandfather, or you could do it out in the Iraqi desert like one of your other grandfathers. So, or you can go to college and actually come back with something. So.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I think that you're setting him up for success, like integrating jiu-jitsu and wrestling and athletics into his life. That's powerful.
We want him to take care of us.
I wanted to.
We want him to want him to get rich and take care of us.
Well,
he's going to pay for that the retirement home that we want to at a high standard.
I love it. So let's talk about LEãO OPTiCS. Can we talk a little bit about like what made you go from being someone who was practicing jiu-jitsu and you're into it to suddenly you were saying, I want to start a brand that sells sunglasses to jiu-jitsu people, and I want to design these cool freaking sunglasses that everyone should check out because I have a pair and man, they're freaking dope.
They are.
So tell us about LEAO OPTiCS. Like, what was that journey?
I think a purple belt at a time, and I'm out here in Oceanside, which is right next to where Camp Pendleton is, the big Marine base. And I had a Marine friend who was almost about to get out of the military, and where he was getting out of the military. And he was an entrepreneur, dude, and he ended up partnering up with this one guy. I forgot what exactly it was, where they were getting like excess lot buys from say Macy's and whatnot. So you'd have like bedding and women's shoes and bags. Then you would buy a lot, and then you would upload that on Amazon and kind of build like an Amazon store selling, like high end designer type stuff. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. So I invest a little bit of money on it, and I'm like, so what do I do now? He's like, well, you just wait. I'm like, that's boring. I'll try to do something else. I have another company that my real job is I own a property maintenance company, and that's paying the bills. Oh, cool. And I'm just like, you don't make money sitting around doing nothing. Like, come on. So I started looking at like, every little stupid item that's on Amazon that there's 15 different manufacturers make the same thing. It's white labeling, private labeling. And I was trying to find some gadget or something like that I resonated with that I can make and put like a name on it and try to sell it on Amazon. But I didn't understand, like, I can't get into like breakdowns of metrics and things like that. I'm so ADHD that I just can't do it. And I kept coming back to sunglasses. I'm like, these look really, really cool. They're like a pair of like bamboo and wood sunglasses. I'm like, I never even owned a pair before. I just go, these are really, really cool. I want to do something like that. And every metric tells you that sunglasses is a horrible idea. A fashion brand, any type of brand, like, is a horrible, horrible idea. I always tell people, I'm 99% farther than every other brand that tried, which means I'm just getting in the door. I'm just starting up. That's how difficult it is to make any type of clothing or article that you're gonna wear on your body. It's hard. And I said, well, I do jiu-jitsu. My name's Lionel, and the only thing that I really care about is my sunglasses. The only thing I really take care of. Like, my truck will be dirty, but my sunglasses are always, I don't break them, I don't lose them, nothing like that. So I'm like, I just put those three things together, and I got a little sample of this, this style. I was actually one night getting extremely intoxicated with one of my buddies that I also trained jiu-jitsu with, and I'm like, dude, I had this like 4:00 in the morning. I'm like, I had this crazy idea about this brand. I think the inside, I want to do like the belt stripe thing. I grew up like in like the 90s hip hop life, doing graffiti and whatnot back in the days. And so we wore polo, Tommy Hilfiger, Nautica. And I always think of that little Tommy Hilfiger little logo, that little bar that they have. And that's kind of like, that's going to be my Tommy Hilfiger, that little logo that's in the inside. And I drew it out all crudely on a piece of paper. And he was like, dude, you got to do that. And I got a sample, and I'm like, I said it was amazing. Did a little production on like 100 pieces, 2 different styles, 100 pieces. Put $1,000 into Facebook ads. Back when Facebook ads were easy. What it was easy, it was like in 2015. Right. Holy for what it is now. And you could just throw money at the wall back then on social media ads. And I thought for sure like my phone's gonna. I got a Shopify account for my store. I thought it goes cha-ching whenever you get a sale. I was like, I can't wait. Launch 12 o'clock. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Like, crickets. And I'm like, wow. Well, that was like my first introduction. Like, because everybody was loving him. They were sharing, check these out, check these out, check these out. I'm like, dude, we're gonna sell out one day. I have a new order. We have to make X amount of money. Da 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 da. And no, it did not happen like that whatsoever. And it just slowly, little by little, was able to pick up some traction.
So are you saying that you can't become a millionaire overnight if you just launch some Facebook ads? Are you saying all these
you actually you can, but it's a story where they go, yeah, it was a 10-year journey in my overnight success.
No, it's true. That's how every overnight success is. It's built like an iceberg. You know, like there's all this stuff underneath, and then there's the little tip that people actually see, and there's this giant foundation underneath. But man, I'd love to talk, just to ask you the next question that we typically ask everyone, which is, how's jiu-jitsu helped your life off the mats? Like specifically your business, like what about jiu-jitsu has made you better at business and these other things?
I'm a passion-driven person. Like I don't want to sound like I'm lying when I say this, but I really don't care about money except for to make sure that, you know, my lights are on and I got food and my family's taken care of. Like I really have zero aspirations of taking LEãO OPTiCS and becoming a millionaire. If it happens, great, you know, but I really don't ever look at it like that. So the funny thing is, if I'm not training, I'm really not building LEãO OPTiCS. So I don't know if that's a positive or that's a negative, but I feel almost like a hypocrite, like to have a jiu-jitsu brand and not actually be training, you know? So I don't know if I really can't say that jiu-jitsu helps me from an entrepreneurial perspective outside of just being like, you know, it's what we talked about earlier from a mental perspective. But how jiu-jitsu does help me as an entrepreneur is when I'm training, I'm actually building my business. So they kind of go, they definitely go hand in hand. So if I'm not building. So if I'm training, then I'm building my brand. So I guess that's the easiest way to say. And it's just a matter of like, okay, I come back from the gym and, you know, at 47, I took a break off because of some health reasons. And then that leads into laziness. And then now I'm just now getting back into training a lot more consistent. But, you know, you get home and I'm like, you're beat up. You're like, man, I'm glad I went to the gym. And I never want to go to the gym. I never want to go train. It's not a thing that I want to go do. When I'm there, cool. But the idea like, oh man, I'm gonna get beat up today. Oh man, I'm gonna get smashed today. Or just even I'm gonna die. I always think like, oh, let me go die now, because just a cardio and just a workout and whatnot. But then I get done and I'm by myself and I'm on my phone and I'm catching up with like I'm always talking to somebody. I have some type of contact thing going on, whether it be with the athletes or with production or with customers or whatnot. And then I find myself, I'm actually doing more. I want to do more work. And that's right. Just, I don't know, kind of weird. It's kind of the way I operate.
No, me too, man. Like I have a digital marketing agency and I do the same thing. Like whenever I have to take off time, sometimes I think like, oh man, I can't make it to class because I'm so freaking busy. And I'll think that, you know, I'll be doing myself a favor if I stay away from jiu-jitsu. And then I'll end up being way less productive because I've got all this mental shit that I didn't deal with by going to train. But if I make myself go train, it makes me more productive whenever I'm not training. And also it just keeps me regulated. Like me, I'm on the autism spectrum. And for me, it's really important to like stay in a routine and kind of stay in some sort of a flow, or else it kind of gets a bit overwhelming. And for me, like I literally, because I'm an entrepreneur and I work basically whenever I want, I'll forget what day it is if I don't have jiu-jitsu. Like I literally will forget the day of the month. And oftentimes like I'll even forget to pay my bills on time because I'll just forget that it's Thursday or whatever, you know, because for me, jiu-jitsu is the only thing in my life because I don't have a 9-to-5. So it's like jiu-jitsu, I know, okay, it's Thursday, Monday, Saturday, Wednesday, you know what I'm saying? Based all around my training days, you know? So if I didn't have that, I'm like, I don't even know what freaking day it is or if I'm supposed to go somewhere.
I know what it is because, well, if my wife's at work, it must be Monday through Friday. You know, I run two businesses from my house. So like, I understand it. And the struggle is real. People think, oh, wow, I wish I could do that. It ain't all cracked up. It ain't what people all make it all cracked up to be. It's actually difficult, especially when you're somebody like me who I have severe ADHD. I'm squirrel. It's hard. And then, you know, I'm probably a hedonist I just don't want to do things that I should do, I don't want to do them. Like you said, I don't forget to pay my bills on time. I'll know it. I'll let it dwell in my head instead of just taking care of it. I go, man, wow, that just taking care of that, I feel so much better. Now it's not stressing me out, but yet I will still continuously let myself fall into that. I get issues.
Dude, I'm the same way. It's I think that jiu-jitsu is important for people like us because it helps us stay kind of in the flow and stay in that routine. And like I said, stay regulated. You know, it regulates your body mechanics really. Like the other thing too, like I get super manic sometimes. Like I'll stay up till late in the night if I don't have something that brings me down. So jiu-jitsu will also help me to sleep. You know what I mean? Like it'll help me to sleep on time because otherwise I'll just be up.
I'm up
late.
You know, I'm a night person. Now, the cool thing about it is, fortunately, I can wake up at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm allowed to do that because, then my other business, a lot of that work goes on during that nighttime. So I actually work nights as well. So,
Wow.
But
Dude, you got to wow.
Not really, because I'm not out 5 days a week or nothing like that. I don't want to say. I actually think I've been very. I could do a whole lot more, but at the same time, going back to like with raising our kid, I was able to be at every single event for him. I think I missed one wrestling match because we got there late, and I missed one tournament because we planned a vacation way in advance and he wanted to go, and I missed one freshman football game because we're on vacation. Other than that, I did not miss anything. And I was every assembly, every award, every band rehearsal, recital thing, everything that he was involved in, I was able to be at everything. It was funny. He would call me his mother dad. I was able to pick him up from school, take him to school. I do all the cooking actually in the house as well too. So I'd be the one dad at football practice with all the moms. He's like, that's my mother dad. Because my wife at the time, was where she was more of a career, is more of the career person.
Yeah, that makes sense. Man, that's amazing that you were able to do all this and still train and still start a business and another business. Like that's epic, man. I wanted to ask you one more thing. Like, what do you think? Jiu-jitsu is getting really big right now. Like, as you know, it's starting to get more clout. We're seeing it on Amazon Prime now, thanks to one championship. Like ADCC had a ton of people there, obviously. Where do you think, as jiu-jitsu starts to grow and as we see this thing expand, like what do you think that could do for the world if more people started training?
It's kind of like in the Wild West when they say that in the Wild West there really wasn't as many gunfights that people say that there were, because everybody had more respect because everybody was carrying a gun. I think that people that are actually training, there'll be more respect in the world with one another. So I believe that's as that grows. You're starting to see all these kids who grew up in jiu-jitsu, and then when they get to high school, they're taking over. Not only they're taking over, but they're doing extremely well in wrestling, and then using that into a college career. And so you're starting these kids up like young from that perspective. When it comes to adults, like what we talked about, like just more balance in your life. I'm definitely fortunate that I have a wife who trains. So a lot of times when I don't want to train, my wife will be like, "No, you got to go train today." Yeah, she's more hyped to go train than I am. And so that definitely helps. If you're fortunate enough to be blessed enough, like I've been able to have a spouse who trains as well, like it's pretty uncommon, at least from my perspective. It's pretty uncommon. But
yeah,
I just think overall, as jiu-jitsu grows, and at the same time as jiu-jitsu grows, I mean, the world's getting bigger, and so people that are training, there's a lot of people who aren't training still. So I just like the idea of having more people training jiu-jitsu. I think I get more respectful people out there, more health conscious, mentally focused people that can also, as the jiu-jitsu players are a lot like vegans and CrossFitters. We want to tell everybody that we do jiu-jitsu or something like that. And then we meet somebody who does jiu-jitsu. Yeah, when we see somebody who does jiu-jitsu right away, they're our brothers. They're their family right away. So, right there, that's just a big a bridge maker between people who otherwise wouldn't know each other, because we see that every single day in the gym. When you got like the guy who's an ex-gang member rolling with this, like the cop who's, busting his friends. But yeah, when they're on the mat, their family.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's wild. It's a big like international fraternity, basically. Like you could drop into any jiu-jitsu school, pretty much any jiu-jitsu school anywhere in the world, and you'll be able to train. You'll be able to meet some new friends, hang out with people. Like I've trained all over the world, and it's great. Like you can drop in just about anywhere and get some rounds in, get beat up, and make some buddies.
What kind of people are there? Not the same people, but the same kind of people. And as provided a normal gym. It provides a normal gym. Your average gym, the same kind of people. I'm not mad. Are gonna be the same kind of people that are at your gym.
That's a great point.
And I think also one thing for me, I'm kind of a recluse. I don't I'm against the grain type person, and I don't like authority. I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like anything like that. I'm one of the somebody's first to say something against the government. So as far as like I disagree with that, I'm not. I'm one of those. Like, however, when I'm on the mats, I'm bow, handshake, bow, hand before. I put myself in those constraints of like the tradition of it, which is really weird for me. And that just that level of respect for the mats, for your partner, for everybody that's in the gym. I think I try, especially I'm a higher rank, and I'm typically in class. I'm at the very end, right before the black belts to be standing against the wall, and the class is standing in front. I'm that last guy, So I try to lead by example that way to try to help share that. I think that also bleeds out in the world, so it helps teach people to be a lot more respectful to each other and whatnot, and trying to show that to other people as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's important because I feel like and we talked about this a lot on the show, but martial arts almost breeds character in a certain way. And it's not a guarantee that someone, just because they're a black belt, they're going to be a good person. Like it's not a guarantee, but there's a heavy correlation. There sure is a lot who are certainly better people because of this, because they've been through this. Like you can pretty much again, you can't guarantee it, but it place a pretty safe bet that if someone's a black belt or a brown belt or a purple belt or blue belt, white belt, like they're probably a pretty cool person. You know what I mean? It's probably a pretty decent person.
You can talk
just overall
to your jiu-jitsu buddy friend, and we some joke. Everyone can talk so much crap to each other because pretty much we already know the pecking order. I just killed you 5 times in 5 minutes. Like, so there's no, you're able to have this bond, this respect with people, and actually like bro down with them. You sweat with them, you bleed with them, so that iron sharpening iron, that happens there is definitely a really good character builder.
Yeah. Me and one of my buddies, Scotty Pelzel, we were just talking about this, how when you roll with someone, you can tell so much about their character, especially about their discipline, because based on their skill and how good they are, you can tell how seriously they've been taking their training, and you can tell how committed they've been, and you can tell how many sacrifices they must have made to have achieved that skill level. And you can tell, like, you can just learn so much about them. Like if someone is excellent at what they do, really at anything, it means a lot. Like it means a lot about other things in their life. Like your son, for instance, like him going to school, getting that academic scholarship, like he has to have done a lot of things to have earned that. Like if you say to someone like, oh yeah, this guy's not here on a scholarship, like that implies a lot of other things. And I think that that's kind of where we're getting with jiu-jitsu. It's going to be the same sort of thing where if you have a black belt in jiu-jitsu, you'll be able to say that, and that'll mean a lot in our society. Like right now, it doesn't mean that much. Like most people don't even know what that means. But I think as jiu-jitsu gets bigger, stuff like that'll be more respected and a little more understood, like how big of a accomplishment that actually is and what that actually means about someone's character.
Yeah, it's funny because when you try to explain to people like here's a black belt jiu-jitsu, like, oh, I'm like, no, I'm not dissing other styles, but this is like a 14-year-old taekwondo kid with a black belt. Like you got a black belt in jiu-jitsu, like, it's like the same amount of time it'll take to become a doctor. It's more, I think. Yeah, and for me, more. I started in 2007, so I'm a 4-stripe brown. So do the math on that. I was thinking, I'm on the short bus trek for I was thinking jiu-jitsu. I'm so stupid. I don't know. I got this because I keep coming, and somehow instinctively I'm figuring things out. Because if this move has more than 3 steps in it, I'm gonna have a problem. So but. When you try to explain to people or let people know or why they don't understand, like, I think I was talking with my mom and talking about when I get my black belt, she's going to be there. And I'm like, I'm going to cry like a bitch when I get my black belt. And she's like, oh, really? Why? I'm like, oh, my mom's like, no clue. Like, no clue why.
Yeah.
Like, how long this, long I've been doing this. And I'm the kind of person that I don't, I'll find the next new big thing. Like I'll get into something for a long time and be all diehard about it, and then jump onto something else. It's
me too.
A thing that I was able to stick with it throughout my adulthood. I think I started when I was like 32 or something. I'll be 47 next month.
Yeah, man. Yeah, me too. Me as well. No, I mean, I the same with jujitsu. Like, it's the one thing I've been able to really stay with. You know, it's the thing that I keep coming back to. It's become like an anchor.
And again, I'm fortunate enough that like I remember it took me 4 years to get my blue belt, and then the place where I was going, the professor had a kid that was the same age as my son, and they became friends and whatnot. And he was like, "Dude, I want my kid to do jiu-jitsu," but he said he won't do it unless your boy does jiu-jitsu. And I remember at that time I was broke. We had no money at the time. Like I'm like, I can't even. I said I could barely afford my own membership, and I wasn't really going all that much. And he goes, "Man," I said, "I can't afford my kids' membership too right now. I just can't do it. Like, these were super tight at the time." He's like, "Dude, you're not even using your membership. Just bring him. Let him come. Let him use your membership." And then that ended up me, like, he was teaching kids class, and he was the only one trying to show moves with kids. And he was like, "Hey, Lionel, come in bar for you for a minute." So they go, "Why don't you just bring your gi?" And then I'm assisting kids class. So it was my kid who got me training. You know what I'm saying? So it was funny. Awesome. Then my wife, she was like, I ain't doing that. I'm not rolling around, all sweaty and this and that. So she would take the kickboxing class. So she was all doing kickboxing, and I was doing jiu-jitsu with the kids. So I'd do the kids class, and then coach kids class, and then do the adult class afterwards. She would come in afterwards, do kickboxing, and then get home like kind of late and whatnot. And they ended up changing an instructor there, and she did not like him. Like, she said, "I don't like this guy. This guy sucks." Da, 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 da. And she said, "Maybe I'll try jiu-jitsu." And I remember we went out and got her a gi. She tried it on and high heels on and whatnot. It was ridiculous. And she tried one class, hooked, totally hooked. So having my wife and having kids, at one point in my life, it was my kid who got me training. And then, like, after the past couple of years, my training schedule has been garbage. It was my wife who keeps me training. So I'm fortunate from that standpoint, because it's very easy for me to quit something. It's very, very easy for me to do so. So when I get my black belt, I'm gonna cry like a little girl.
That's awesome, man. You should. Well, I could tell that you really are passionate about it. Like that this is the thing that you're gonna be able to stick with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, because I think it's good for people, to have that thing that they keep coming back to, and it really shapes a lot about the rest of their life. But hey, man, we do got to wrap this up here, but I just want to talk a little bit more about LEãO OPTiCS. Can you tell us a little bit more about, like, anything that you guys got going on at LEãO OPTiCS, and just anything that you want to tell us more about?
We pretty much are relaunching over the past couple of months, kind of like a soft relaunch in a sense. COVID messes up really, really bad. Being located in Southern California, I got spoiled. We had all the events that were right here, and I would get the media passes to shoot everything, and when that went away, at first I didn't think that COVID was a big deal with the shutdown, the lockdowns, and things like that. And it actually put a serious wear on me, like, mentally, to where, I look up a couple of years later, I'm going like, dude, what happened? And your brain was kind of stagnant. I was just trying to keep it there. But I always told myself, I said, unless I quit throwing the name out there, it can't fail. Only way it can't fail is if I just totally stop. So got a business partner. We're starting to and then we're doing like some like a soft relaunch, which is good. The past couple of months we're seeing some really good traction. The coolest thing about it is I've been fortunate enough to be able to meet a lot of people in the industry, and a lot of people supported the brand, people that we sponsored, people that we just do support behind, people that they'll support behind us because they like what we do. And I've been able to reconnect with all of them, and everyone was like, "Dude, you're back, I'm back, heck yeah, let's do this." And the response to that has been like so meaningful to me. I was just at Worlds a couple weeks ago, and just seeing everybody from around the world that I've built relationships with, and it's the support that we've got from them. That everyone's like, "Dude, you need anything from me, just let me know. I'm here to help you out. I want to see the brand get to its potential." So right now, I would, if you guys never heard of us, follow us, check us out, look at our style, see what we're doing, see the kind of work that we do within the community, in the jiu-jitsu community. Whenever there's a charity thing that we're able to be a part of, we definitely, if we can just get product out to you guys, that's like the least that we can do. We're definitely about doing that, and see what we actually do for the community, more so than just trying to get sales. Like, we're really trying to build something. I look at it like when you go when you go to jiu-jitsu, a lot of times you the flip-flops are sitting on the ground and you look at them and you see Havanas flip-flops everywhere. Like that's the kind of thing that jiu-jitsu people want to buy. They want the Havana flip-flops from Brazil. And I kind of want to have the brand where it's like, well, if you do in jiu-jitsu, man, like you should be wearing apparel LEãO OPTiCS. So we're trying to we bring a lot more fire behind the brand. We have a new style coming out. I think it's gonna be on the site tomorrow. Called the Monoshiba V2s. I don't think I have a pair next to me at all. And they're probably our best classes we ever brought out. They're the most beautiful things. Like so, people look at to be on the lookout for those. But more styles coming out, collaborations. So we're looking. We have a lot of great ideas. And for, me being somebody who's so ADHD, I finally have somebody on my side who does those little things that I'm not good at. I have somebody doing a lot of the this kind of stuff, and I'm not good at this kind of stuff. I've done everything. I was the only one doing all this kind of stuff since 2015, and I'm so stoked that I'm able to focus more on just production, keeping up with just relationships, and just trying to do everything that I have been doing without feeling like overwhelmed with the things that I feel like I'm not really good at.
Right. Yeah, man. Dude, I love it. And I'm a big fan of LEãO OPTiCS. Like, dude, mine, I've been wearing them constantly. And I know that you also hooked our listeners up with a discount code. So if you're listening to this, you can go to LEAOoptics.com and you can use the coupon code JJO and you can get yourself 10% off, which is incredible.
We encourage, if you're hearing this on this podcast, we definitely encourage you guys. A lot of times people, they don't want to use, like, I'm kind of person, sometimes I don't like to, I'm too lazy to put in a discount code. If you guys are interested, use the discount code, please. Hey, definitely use the discount code. Get your 10% off, and get the best pair of sunglasses you're ever gonna have. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, man, I dig them. Like, I love that the branding, but I also love the quality. Like, they just are a really good.
It's a solid product. And that was extremely, extremely important to me because I did not want to come across as being like a gimmick. Like
right.
all the BS gets checked in jiu-jitsu already just by what we do. Like if you're not a good person, it's gonna get checked on the mat. If you don't have a good product, it's gotta get checked. And
right.
We people who do jiu-jitsu are passionate, and they love what they do. So I want to be able to give them a product that they're also going to feel represents what they love, and that's extremely important to me.
Yeah, dude, and the quality is top notch. I love the case that it comes in. I love the feel of it. I love how it looks when I'm wearing them.
Comfortable. And they're comfortable. They're super lightweight, they're durable, they're comfortable. They got scratch resistant polarized lenses. You can wear them all day long. When you work out in the sun, you could actually have a nice pair of sunglasses on your head.
Yeah, man, I love them. I mow the lawn in them. Work out. Was working with them outside earlier, and dude, I freaking wear them every day. Honestly. So thanks so much for hooking us up with the discount code. So make sure you go to LEAOoptics.com if you're listening. Coupon code JJO, get you 10% off. Lionel Turner, thank you so much for coming on the show, brother. I really appreciate you. Anytime, man. We'll have to get you back sometime soon and hear about
anytime. Just let me know. Let me know. I'll come anytime you want.
Appreciate you, man.